Okay, so are we recording now? Or
Yeah, we're recording now.
We're recording now.
Waiting on Thomas, I'm guessing.
Waiting on Thomas. Okay. Kate, we can't hear you.
Yeah, she's on mute.
Okay.
But she knew that because she wasn't on mute to begin with.
Good. Are we talking about 4?
4.
Yeah.
Okay, I missed 3 last week. Okay, good.
But you watched 3.
I watched 3.
Okay.
And then I watched 4 today.
Well, this is good. We put our computer up high underneath the camera so that we're not looking down the whole time.
That's good.
There's
cool.
just a whole lot of boxes on this table. He's getting a drink.
Understood.
We're watching an episode of Better Call Saul.
Ooh.
We got my drink with me.
In honor of William drinking his whiskey out of a fancy glass, I am drinking whiskey out of a fancy glass. So.
Oh.
I'm drinking sherry out of the biggest glass you got.
Yeah.
Just traditional tequila in a shot glass. That's all
That
you
works.
need.
That's
That's all you need. It's the Berry Essentials. Well, I mean, technically the Berry Essentials would just be the tequila. Who cares about a shot glass?
Out of the bottle.
Yeah, just straight out of the
A
bottle.
bottle is a glass if you think about it.
Well, technically, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unless if it's plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, turn my computer down so we're not so. Ready?
All right.
Sure.
Made it. Sorry.
Hey, Internet, and welcome to the Nights of the Drunk Watch. We just finished watching Westworld Season 3, Episode 4, entitled Who the Hell Knows? I don't.
Oh, Mother of Exiles.
Mother Exiles. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrew.
I'm
Kate.
Travis.
I'm Thomas.
We are the Knights of the Drunk Watch.
And
And now our talk begins.
And now our talk begins.
Kate and I did pretty well, I think.
Yeah. You do that trick you did in high school choir where you just mouth the words and let the other group sing it.
Hey, there are people all over the world doing full-on chorus numbers from shows. I don't know how they do that because we can't even do that one line.
I think they record it and edit it in and deliver
Yeah,
it.
for sure. They give them the metronome marking and then they just do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think personally this has been the best episode of Westworld in the series. Personal opinion.
The whole series or this season?
I think in the whole series, I think it's the best episode.
Okay.
I just think it was fun. It was twists. It was fun. So the first topic I want to talk about was, of course, the biggest bomb that happened this episode was, we found out, it was Dolores.
It's all Dolores.
It's all Dolores.
It was just all Dolores.
all Dolores.
Yeah, it's all about the Dolores.
And you get a Dolores. And you
Yeah.
You get a Dolores.
you get a Dolores.
And you are a Dolores.
So she spent her time at the forge, apparently, just making 4
Copying.
copies of herself.
Blanks.
She basically had her butt on the Xerox machine.
Yeah.
Like that's what she was doing at the party.
Yeah.
That's basically what it was.
Except those butts are homicidal, robot maniacs.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that is true. So I have a half a prediction, maybe. I'm not really sure what to call it. An assumption. I think that
Half of a prediction.
You
have a pretty?
adjacent. So I think at some point William is going to shoot Hale, what I call Dolores
Hale.
Dolores
Dolores
Hale.
Hale.
So Dolores 2.0.
Yeah, it's going to shoot to Hale.
Shoots Hale, right? And I think Dolores has to make a crude copy of herself to replace, and I think the copy is corrupt or degraded.
Well, wouldn't you already say that Hale is a crude copy of Dolores? I mean, she's trying to claw herself out of Hale.
The first Hale was Dolores.
Yes.
This works so much with Hale.
The first Hale was Dolores.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for for Hale to become paranoid and having issues and glitches, I think that it's not. You can't make a perfect copy every time. It starts to degrade as you go. It just starts to degenerate as you go as you copy it.
I was gonna say that I expect there to be somebody. Bernard's gonna challenge one Dolores when this is done. Who's the top Dolores?
That's true.
And he's gonna turn the Doloreses on each other. We just need a sitcom spinoff. Dolores.
Oh yeah.
And Dolores.
Everyone loves Dolores. So that's my prediction. I mean, I don't know. I have no proof about, but I just think it's weird that we see Dolores so strong at the beginning. So okay, this brings my next thing to William. So we first open the episode. We see William is just like gone completely berserk.
Yeah.
Full Glenn Close, just berserko.
Yeah, he's over the rainbows for the skills.
Yeah.
And to the point, he's so nuts that his imaginary daughter is being like, "This doesn't look good, Dad." Like he's that crazy.
But is that Dolores too?
So the only way it could be in my mind is if the William who came out of the park is not the real William. He's just programmed to think he is, and clearly part of Dolores, and who the hell knows, Dolores Hale's plan is to help take over Delos by getting William. Do we even know his last name? William Delos. I don't know. That's not
No.
We don't. I looked on IMDb. We don't know his last name.
She is
William, my boy.
She has engineered a plan to get William to, go off the deep end, thus strengthening Dolores Hale's hold over Delos.
Well, I mean, that's what happened. Because he got committed, Hale is now in control of his shares as the president.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
that was the goal. So I now have two prevailing theories on William. One, he just goes batshit crazy, and she's controlling him. But I mean, she's keeping him under wraps. And so the scene from the end of the second season was just him in his own hell of insanity. That he keeps reliving these different aspects of his life, and his daughter is there to haunt him.
Okay.
The second is that him being committed and her controlling his shares will only go so far. And so she then has to create a host for William like they did for Papa Delos. And she has to get him up to fidelity in time before she loses control of his shares. And so that is what happens at the end of season 2, is that process is in play.
Really need to rewatch season 2.
Likewise. No, and like I think, Andrew, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I also think the William that came out of the park, may not, hell, for all we know, the real William could still be running around the park somewhere, going crazier. But this thing is, because what happened to, you called him Papa Delos, what happened to Mr. Delos, every time they created it, he went nuts. Like, if anything, I think this is, William, call it, Beta, and William Beta is part of Dolores's plan. He was rescued from Westworld, and he's doing what the beta tested versions do, go fucking nuts.
The only reason I might question that is, given who knows what happened in the park, would a Dolores William, when the other William is lost in the park somewhere, have a bum hand? Because he screwed up his hand.
Cutting into himself.
Yeah, when his gun backfired.
Right.
And so he still has the bum hand. So, not everyone would have known about that, so they could have just created one and sent a full-handed William back. She wouldn't have had to have created the bum hand.
Yeah, but it was when they were in Westworld, the hat was taking, their consciousness from them, and that would be built into it.
Because that would be like built into his personality in the form of like trauma. So it would be necessary to recreate that if they're going to recreate him to his truest form.
Maybe.
True.
Fidelity.
But here, let me say this. It could just be simply that William actually isn't a is not a
hostess man cake.
Yeah, isn't a host. Isn't an old man host. It could be that William, through his own progress down the rabbit hole, has just gotten himself so far into the point. Either the real William or the host William shot his own daughter in the park because he could not tell real from fake. So who's to say that she's not just kind of like, let him run into this hole and is just letting him sit there torturing himself. But at the same time, like Andrew said, she's realizing, okay, wait, hold on 1 second. He has gone a little too skitsy. We need to kind of bring him back. We need to get him, on the straight and narrow again, because like you said, Andrew, Hale can only hold on to the company so long before something is going to happen.
Well,
and also I think it's possible clue is if he's still real William because of the way Dolores confronted him about his delusions.
Well, she's there.
Would that be something she would do if she's trying to cultivate fidelity in a host? But instead she confronted him and then exposed herself to him, to get him to go crazy and committed right in front of witnesses. So.
No, and that theory is equally as valid, just because hell, they could have already copied his daughter in the park, and it's all part of his game. He's trying to get to the center of the maze still, although he doesn't realize it. He's out of the park, but he's still. Yep.
But we do know his daughter and Dolores, for that matter, in the cell are not there, because they do the camera shots where they see him and then they switch it and he's by himself. That is, at least to me, an indication that it's all in his head.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. And you see, that's what makes me think it's not. I don't know. We've kind of got that similar thing where from season 1, we see all of these situations where Dolores is, on the riverbed and there's like the bodies and everywhere, and then all of a sudden, she's like, oh wait, no, they're not there. So is equally, flip a coin. William is a host. Flip the coin. William is not a host. Fuck either way.
Host. It's too soon to tell.
So moving on.
He's burning his toast.
Moving on, and Dolores' plan real quick, just to keep it consistent. So Dolores, in relation to Liam Dempsey, is actually Laura Epson.
Right.
We've heard that name before.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's her first episode character.
Something happened to Laura Epson. She drug overdosed.
Right. That's what the security guard did to her. He was supposed to kill her, and she and then she ended up surviving and switching out the security guard.
Gotcha. So that's
with
what they
Dolores.
With Dolores.
Yes.
So all the real people thought Laura died, when really her plan ended up working out.
Right.
Well, and it was more fun seeing Dolores kind of grooming Caleb and working him into her plan. And then we got the return of the buddy cop duo, Bernard and Stubbs.
They're so great.
Yeah, so what is Bernard's plan? Yeah. Is Bernard's plan just to stay one step ahead of Dolores? That's what it seems like.
Right.
I feel like Bernard is a foil for Dolores to work off of in some way that we haven't foreseen and can't foresee. Because Bernard's true mission is the big, if you will, mind fuck coming at the end of the season, where there's nothing that says, even Bernard was checking the first episode if anybody had messed with his code, and he told himself no in like analog mode or whatever it was.
I just don't...
in analysis mode, he kept putting himself in. But again, we can't trust anything. We can't take anything at face value. There's so many red herrings. Is this person real? Is this person a host? But Bernard, who is a host, who's already had a very, call it duplicitous backstory in history, There's a big reveal coming with Bernard. I feel it.
And part of the confusion with Bernard, especially now that everyone's Dolores, could Armando be Dolores? I'm like, why did she bring Bernard back?
Dolores, Andrew? I don't know.
But I was just like,
everybody.
Everybody's Dolores.
My ass.
I am
Zach, we all need wigs for next week.
Got it. Write that down
I mean, just
somewhere.
because we had, what was it, Armando? I can't remember what he
Yeah.
called. Armando, and he click over to Bernard and click back. It's like, again, Dolores said he had a purpose, but we don't really know what his purpose. She brought him back.
Somebody mentioned that he was brought back to possibly keep her in check somehow, as if she would take her plan too far. But if anything, I see, from what we know of the original Arnold and the original Dolores, they were sweet on each other, or Arnold loved Dolores and wanted her to be free. If anything, Bernard is there to turn into Arnold at some point to see when Dolores is finally free, or something along those lines. Take it all the way back to season 1.
I just find it strange to bring back Bernard, because like I guess he is an advanced host because he was creating hosts, but like, how are you going to surpass Dolores?
Yeah, I think there's got to be a true purpose there that's going to make us go, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's this Armando you were talking about?
It's Bernard's new identity. So.
Oh, okay. Sorry. You had me lost there for a moment. There I was like, who are you fucking talking about? I have no idea.
When he was clicking back and forth in that first episode.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it looks like Bernard's button is a universal remote.
Oh, can we just, I love it when they have in serious movies those little cute moments and analysis mode, just add another.
What a bumbling idiot.
Hey.
Or no, him and Stubbs in the motel room, and Stubbs bitching about how greasy a motel it is.
I like them.
Listen, hosts have needs.
No, of course, Maeve's journey we haven't gotten into or touched on. And with the return, the big reveal.
Wait, he had nuggets. Was that the next nugget?
I mean, that's part of Dolores. I think that intersects with Dolores' plan. My next question was, what was in that warehouse of fluid? What's going on with that?
The host.
Well, that was host making fluid.
Yeah. So do we think Dolores is
was
hoarding to make an army or something? Like
Dolores has bigger plans that we have not even begun to glimpse. A fraction of Musashi Dolores.
I just made the connection that wasn't not Dolores who was hoarding all the milk. I was just like, I knew that character was Dolores, but it just came back around that like that character who is Dolores is in charge of all the milk. So I was like, well, maybe Delos is doing this other thing. No, it's all Dolores.
It's all Dolores.
Diversifies in vegan almond milk for hosts. Host choice.
Oat milk.
Host choice.
Yeah, don't bash almond milk. It's all right. I went searching for Armando.
The actor Musashi, or that character coming back, was amazing.
Yes.
Well, and did he come back? Like, of all, why? That was the first time she chose a park character to inhabit. Did she have an expectation that Maeve was still out there and Maeve would eventually show up here? Because the only reason really for it to be him, unless it was because it was in Hong Kong or Shanghai or wherever.
Japan, he was Yakuza, wasn't he?
No idea.
Oh, yeah, not Japan, sorry. China.
And so he would be a local, was because of Maeve, really, I think.
I mean, that makes sense, especially like if Dolores is, but then that means that Dolores was planning on recruiting Maeve, or?
Well, I think she probably knew that. See, I think Dolores and Maeve have been set up against each other since the beginning, because from the moment she walks out in the street and tells her to move along so that people don't think that the farmer's daughter is part of her thing, they've been kind of a little bit, and then every time
I just remember they were so
stay out of my way,
so close that one time to joining like forces, and then Maeve was just like, nah bitch, I got my own plans.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no, the actor Hiroyuki Sanada, is who you're talking about, Thomas.
I just looked him up. Thank you.
But no, I think it's like as soon as I saw Maeve running through the milk factory, and you see the guy, kind of sitting in the back, in my mind I was like, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be absolutely tits if it was, Sonata? And then he walks out, and I was like, yes. And then immediately afterwards, I was like, how?
Did you call him Sonata, like a Hyundai?
No, Sanada. That's his last name.
Musashi.
But his actor name.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sanada. Anywho, he walked out, and I was like, yes. But then I was like, how? And then that's when they had the whole huge complex. I'm Dolores. You're Dolores. We're all Dolores.
I really once we got enough of a glimpse of him, and I could see that he was Asian, I thought he was going to be Felix. And she was going to be like, buddy!
I was thinking that too. Yeah, I was thinking that too. That would have been absolutely crazy. But what I thought, as soon as I saw him, and then I started, we started realizing Hale's Dolores, and Musashi is Dolores, and
security guy.
Yeah, Scottish security guy. She's got all these Doloreses in play. It reminded me of when Dolores was saying, their system, this, world that these, others have created is so complex, it seems impossible, but it's just a few key things. I think what she's doing is she's putting a Dolores in each of these chess positions, ready to start her thing. And apparently she needs a milk factory. She needs a Scottish security guard.
He's a key to controlling Dempsey.
Yes, yeah. She needs a Scottish security guard who can bitch around, Dempsey. She needs a person in charge of, Westworld. I don't know what she needs next. Oh, she needs a ex-army quasi, mercenary, suicidal mercenary.
Yeah, so the more I see Caleb, I feel like he is just a Teddy replacement.
I feel like he is a Teddy replacement.
He absolutely is.
He's literally
but he's not
just
Teddy.
No.
But he's Teddy in everything but name.
Right.
Or is he William? Original William.
Billy.
No, the other McPoyle brother is going to show up this season. I can feel it. They're going to start drinking the host milk, because what do we know all McPoyles love?
I mean, I just think, despite all the metaphors they were doing in that first or second episode where we were introduced to Caleb, Dolores falling into his arms exactly the same way she fell into Billy's arms to separate him from William and the Man in Black. Yeah. Which also brings me to a point. I find it interesting how, especially if you look at Caleb's loop, not as like a hint that he's a host, but just that humans have loops, just like, they're basically showing us the real world. The real world isn't that much different than Westworld. Why do we need Westworld? Because we went to Pariah this week,
Yeah, we did have like a
you didn't need to
museum.
go to Westworld to have wanton sex with strangers. You could go to the Eyes Wide Shut Pariah party.
But I feel like the party was because Westworld was shut down.
No, I don't think
it was a fundraiser.
It was a fundraiser for prostitutes.
Yeah, it was a fuck fundraiser. It was literally like,
I mean, regardless of whether it was a fundraiser or a whorehouse or whatever, it was people having sex.
It was a fuck
wantonly.
None of them were gold, Andrew, so it's not the same.
No, and there was that great bit where
you don't know behind that screen what color they were.
Nobody could use their credit cards. What's his face tried to pull out a credit card, and there was like, "I'm sorry, no, we only take thumbs here."
Well, no, Liam.
No, that was because Dempsey's accounts were shut down.
Moment where they saw Dolores kicking ass, fighting Stubbs, and then they're like, "Oh my God, this is good shit." And then when Dolores left, she pointed at that guy who's simulation inside a simulation and gave him the wink,
Well, that I think it was her telling him it's all in your head. It's drugs, buddy.
Of course, it was a cover, but again, nothing is a throwaway line in this series. We've learned the hard way 2 seasons in a row, I feel
I'm down with that. All right, so I know we probably don't want to get too much in the weeds on this next topic, but I think the more we go along,
live in the weeds.
We're in the weeds. Let's get in the weeds. So timelines. There's some interesting days and times mentioned in this episode. It said one of them was so in the first scene, Sirach had not yet taken over the share of Delos. So that hadn't happened yet.
I think he's making a move to do it. I think everything that Hale is doing is to try to stop it. He's buying out all these shares.
So he is the biggest single shareholder. He has like 30% of it.
38.
But he doesn't have a controlling share of it.
Okay.
So she can still do what she wants to. He's bought all the shares already, but he hasn't taken over. But that's the intended plan. So she needs to get half the shareholders at the shareholder gala, whatever, that she gets William to go to.
The stock swap.
Yeah, to join like her side, because while no one has a majority, he has the most. He has a plurality.
Right. Okay. And then the other thing that interested me was when Sirach took Maeve back to the house, we'll call it the house, he had mentioned that there was a divergence here 3 months ago, and that lines up with Bernard's timeline of, I haven't seen Dolores in 92 days.
Right,
so,
right.
I mean, that just means they're on the same. I don't think.
Yeah, I think the timeline for this season is pretty linear. Because I think they've done the trick timelines. They've done the separate timelines that you need to see how they feed together. I think they're done with timelines.
They're filling in the blanks. They are filling in the blanks a little bit. There are two timelines, but they're not as significant or as like gotcha timelines as they have been in the last season.
And I think the only different, they're the same. Things are happening at maybe
they're filling in the
for
back.
Bernard, it's Tuesday afternoon.
Like we might have to go back a little bit and catch someone up, but I don't think it's like, where's that? Where's that? When did this happen? When did this happen?
I think flashbacks are different than timelines.
Yes.
Well, yes, I think that's what we're dealing with.
Like when we see Dolores introduce Puppet Hale, she basically, that's a flashback to 30 days ago or whatever. But I don't.
Kate and I have had this argument. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's similar to like season 2, where it was only 14 days apart. I think we're probably at the most.
I think everything's happening because we see two different characters. We see Bernard and Stubbs meet up exactly with Dolores.
Yeah, they meet up.
We kind of have everybody together in
it's relatively linear, like most.
But the scene in question is Maeve's timeline in relation to Dolores and theirs, and technically Maeve's timeline could have been happening before of what's considered the current events going on here. But again, it's only the difference of like 2 weeks tops.
Right.
But I don't think we've been given any definite proof that there's even a separate timeline going on. I think all we're having is just situations where we have, several stories and they're just all, randomly telling bits. It's not like we're literally, here's all the characters, and we're going to keep going until this one finally catches up.
But I think Maeve is probably on the same track because she's trying to find Dolores. And she went to the mortician, and the mortician said, I don't do bodies. So she had to go to someone else for bodies. And then, she's, following behind Dolores' trail. So Dolores has the bodies. She has everything she needs to replace people. And so I think Maeve is on her trail.
True. I just don't feel like I don't feel like the trail is...
We're not disagreeing, Travis. We're not disagreeing.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think Maeve's timeline is way off somewhere else.
No.
2 weeks ago or a month ago.
Yeah.
It's right in there with everything that's going on.
Maeve is trapped on a moon of Jupiter and is about to spell out "Save me, daughter" in human bodies. Oh,
goodness.
Hold on, wrong show.
Goodness.
Wrong
Well,
show.
I will say this.
Al's Dr. Manhattan. Sorry, wrong show.
It is when Maeve goes to see the mortician that we figure out Laura Espin is actually some girl who died
We knew that, though.
Well, no, but I mean, it says that Laura Espin died, but we found that out.
It was a girl in the Ukraine who died.
Because, yeah, but I mean, we finally meet the person who put,
gave Dolores her identity.
The tissue.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And,
and did we catch that Charlotte Hale took William's blood?
Oh, yes. And also, did we catch that Charlotte, or Dolores, DeCharles?
I call it Charlotte Hale. Hale Dolores.
She shaved William just like Dolores did at the end of season 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so like
season 1, she shaved him in season 1, I think.
And to go back, Andrew, to what you were saying, like, oh, she only was making copies of herself, or who she took out of the park, or whoever was saying that. I think Dolores, the pearls have, if you will, the singularities in them. They have the soul of these hosts, but she could have gotten an upload or a download of every single host, aesthetic file, what they look like, to 3D print them. But the important crap, those 5-6 pearls total or whatever it was, that's what she can't reproduce. But I have a feeling she can reproduce any, if you will, blank-bodied host at this point.
Oh, I mean, the body she could probably create, but if she didn't take balls with her out of their heads,
it's going to be just an army of Dolores.
I mean, she can't do another Teddy. She can't do another Angela, because those backup copies are gone.
But those backup copies are where Maeve came from.
According to Sirach, Dolores has the key to all those backup copies hidden, and we don't know if that ploy is real.
Well, right, yeah.
I didn't understand. Sirach was still dangling, oh, your daughter, you can live with your daughter. Like, is that even what Maeve wants at this point? Well,
I mean, the Valley Beyond, Dolores sent the Valley Beyond somewhere uncharted.
But
that's
Sirach
one thing.
Told Maeve that Dolores also holds the key to unlock the Valley Beyond, where they all are.
Well, she obviously programmed it to go somewhere, but Maeve isn't a copy. Maeve is her one copy in the ball, ripped out of her head and taken out of the park.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is she realizes.
I'm telling that to Travis. What?
Like, she realizes her daughter is bunk, and it's not her daughter.
She's realized that for a while and has still had the connection.
Oh, okay, but at some point I have to wonder: is Maeve's end goal to get her daughter back in some form, or is it to be free like Dolores is? Because I almost think Maeve could be this Trojan horse, to where like she's trying to stop Dolores, but in the end, she's what was really meant to get out. Not Dolores, but Maeve. And she's going to stop Dolores so that she can just take her place, if you will. That's I'll put shots on it, I'm saying.
I don't feel like Maeve has, well, I don't feel like we've learned Maeve's true agenda yet for this season.
Absolutely not.
Last season it was find my daughter. The first season it was get the fuck out. Second season it was find my daughter, and then now it's.
So the title of Maeve's movie is Not Without My Daughter?
Well, I mean, it's like get the fuck out, my daughter killed Dolores. I mean, that seems to be her trilogy so far. But sorry, Andrew, you were saying something about Maeve and her pearl.
Well, I mean, it's been so long since you mentioned about where Maeve came from. Maeve's ball was ripped out of her head in the park.
Correct.
And stolen.
Yes. But, okay. What I was saying is, Maeve came from where all of the remaining pearls are located. And all the remaining pearls have now been just moved to some separate area. That's why she was in Warworld with Hector.
No, she wasn't in Warworld.
Warworld was a simulation by Sirach. It wasn't part of Westworld.
No, and see, somebody.
So when she possessed the robot and went into the place and stole her pearl.
Yes.
You're saying that wasn't her pearl? What are you saying?
No. Travis,
Are you saying Maeve is Agent Smith?
That doesn't make any sense.
Travis, Warworld doesn't exist in the theme park that Westworld.
Warworld was a Sirach simulation. It's not a real thing.
Oh, when was that decided? Or did I miss that?
Because Sirach created Warworld because he thought she would divulge where she sent stuff because he thought maybe she took all the stuff.
Yeah, when we had the whole Sizemore was never real. So every time like he actually died. So her in the laboratory, like kind of all of that before she realized that Sizemore was not real, not a human. That was all part of the simulation also. She just didn't know it yet.
Sorry, I just realized this is the part of the episode where I went into the other room to go to the little boys' room.
Did you fall asleep, Travis?
No, I did not fall asleep, but I was listening and I was kind of like, yeah, okay, Warworld, whatever.
But the robot was real.
And then I flushed and washed my hands.
Yes.
Because Sirach, whether Sirach is real or not anymore, or Sirach is Rehoboam.
Everybody say it together with me. Roho.
Boham.
Rehoboam. Thank you.
Rehobo. Anyway, but the robot was in the real world. Because he talks about how you killed a bunch of my people before we realized you didn't know what we wanted to get from you.
Right.
Okay. Yes. No. This is all the conversation that I need to go back and watch. Apparently, because I stepped out.
Watch our chats on Patreon, Travis.
We did watch our chat from I think it was last week, where I was like, I don't think Cal is a robot at all, but he's definitely a robot, but he's not a robot, and I think he's a robot, and I'm pretty sure that's all I said.
Wow.
No, hold on. So
how much were you guys drinking last week?
Zach got it exactly right.
Thank
Zach
you.
got it exactly right. He said Dolores split herself.
He got
it exactly right.
Oh, wait, sorry.
It's all Dolores all the way down, but it's not she hasn't split herself and weakened herself. She's copied herself.
Oh my God.
It's not good Dolores, bad Dolores, but he is correct that there was
Dolores.
So she's not created a bunch of Horcruxes, which I think you were about to say. She's just copy pasted herself a bunch.
Yes. I did say it. I said it last week too.
So a real quick director note or writer's note I noticed in the first scene was when William was shaving himself in the mirror, and it was like, "What's wrong with your bathroom?" He's like, "I don't go there anymore."
That's because where his wife died.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe a big mansion has one bathroom, a single bathroom.
Did she say your bathroom or that bathroom?
She said, "What's wrong with the bathroom?" He's like, "I don't go in there anymore."
Yeah.
And like he did have another bathroom he could go to. Yeah.
Any bathroom.
Yeah. Emily's bathroom. I guess you wouldn't go there either.
The guest bathroom. I don't know. I'm sure there's a
half bath. Like
there's a pool house that Logan used to live in. Like use that bathroom. I was
that's an emergency though.
Yeah.
Or use the corner.
Hold on. I have a question for everybody. Who are we fan casting as Old Man Logan in this series?
Logan's dead.
Yeah, but come on.
Isn't he?
Is he though? No.
I don't know. Do we know if he's dead or not? I don't remember.
Supposedly he OD'd and died. I think.
Right. So he could be a surprise.
Uncle Logan died, but I mean, again,
he could definitely be a surprise.
Who do you fan cast as Old Man Logan when he shows up to take control of Delos?
How old would he be? Ed Harris old?
Ed Harris's age.
Ian McShane.
Ian McShane.
He'd be a good shitty person. Like
that's
Logan.
badass. That's gonna be badass if that's true.
Gonna be, and Ed Harris and Ian McShane just like HBO. Get on.
No. I want
refilm.
I want Clint Eastwood with a shoe polish hair dye job as Old Man Logan.
No.
Yeah.
I could Robert totally De Niro.
School.
Robert De Niro.
Logan was a drug addict, and
Robert De Niro.
Advanced age would help reflect.
I mean, we just watched The Hunters, and Pacino was a great Jewish person, so
Hoo-ah.
he would be good too.
Like
that
was Al Pacino.
Yeah, what? As much as I.
Oh, I said De Niro.
I know, and I said Pacino. I was
okay.
I was joining you there.
Robert De Niro is Logan Delos.
Yeah, as Al Pacino.
But it's actually Dolores.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, I want to ask one thing. Have we seen all of the Dolores copies yet.
No.
How many pearls did she have? There's
5.
one missing, right?
What?
There's at least 4, maybe 5, depending on if Bernard is part of that count.
So I think
Okay,
that
so
she took
if
5.
how many do we know for sure? We have Hale.
One is Hale.
We have
One
Scottish
of the pearls was
bodyguard.
Bernard. That's not Dolores. Just another
There's
5
has to be
pearls.
6.
What?
There has to be 6. There was.
She's the 6th one.
I know. Yes, there was 4 on the table.
Hale was the 5th one.
Hale was sitting at the couch. Dolores was sitting on the couch.
Dolores
4
Prime.
others.
I'm assuming
What is
she
Bernard?
probably had
Actually,
Bernard
so
in the.
I'm Dolores, and I brought 5 balls.
No, you are Hale, and you brought 5 balls.
No, I'm
Dolores.
Yes.
And I'm Dolores, and
Y'all
I
are
have
talking
5
about
balls.
different times.
Yeah, no, I'm Dolores,
Yes.
and I have 5 balls. I
Yes.
use 1 to make Hale. I use 1 to make Bernard. I use 1 to make Connell, I think is his name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, why not?
I think so.
And so we
Musashi.
and then Sashi, yeah.
Musashi.
Musashi. And so we have 1 more.
So, well, and so I think I'm leaving the door open that bag was kind of loose. Bernard could be.
The back door is
Dude,
loose,
hang on.
Andrew.
Do you want more balls in that bag?
You mean
Well, at least
Bernard?
maybe just 1 more. Like Bernard is his own ball. He's not part of the 5.
You,
But wait
you
a
mean
minute.
you
No,
mean
we saw his
Bernard was in the
ball. But wait a
sanitary
minute.
napkin compartment?
Wait a minute. Bernard stole Stubbs out of the park. How many balls does Stubbs have up his derriere? That's my question.
A lot. Judging. from
he's
his
complaining.
No. If Stubbs has anything up his butt, they're pearls.
whole-
Ah.
And Zach's out.
All right, is that everything? Is that everything?
Any other questions for the crowd? No, I think we're good.
We are the
Oh,
drums
oh.
of the nights. Oh no, wait. Sorry.
Well, hold on one second. I was going to say I did love the amazing RoboCop homage with that giant Swiss Army assemble.
It was a riot control Delos
Oh,
spot.
yeah.
You know, the robot.
yeah.
That
5 boxes, $300,000.
We
Yeah.
they can make 200 of them or 30 of them.
they can make maybe 300 of them. Who knows?
There were numbers. There were numbers involved, but
What I thought was interesting
What's
is
the
that those-
budget?
Delos can make a scary amount of those Swiss Army Delos
Yeah, okay.
riot control droids.
No, I think they have a scary. I think they have a couple.
All I know
hundred
is
of
the
them.
Saudis backed out. Typical Saudis.
Yeah, typical Saudis. But what I thought was interesting was those guys placed those, 5 components, and then walked one through another one straight to where it should be, dropped it, and all of a sudden everything anamorphed, perfectly. Yeah. It was like, yeah, you guys totally know exactly where to put this piece of material so that another one, yeah. Well, I mean, except you don't see any tape. I mean, it's on concrete.
They taped it
Gaffer,
very well.
Gaffer alert.
Yeah.
All right. So
Sorry, that was my only thing. I'm looking out for Robo Red Cop. Oh, hang on.
God damn it, Travis.
Oh shit! What did I do? Okay.
Sorry, my glass is little.
I had a nickel.
Glass, not ass.
We're the Knights of the Drunk Watch,
I don't even
And
have
and
that.
now our talk has
ended.
ended.
Good night, everybody.
I just did that by watching Kate's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It happened.